Good afternoon. Thank you for checking in with me today. If you're coming to this video, you have some questions, you're curious about something, and you want to know, obviously, what's it like to be locked up? Coming from a convict, coming from a two-time felon who did a bid when I was 16, 2 years. I did 6 months here. I did 4 months here. The longest bid that I've ever done was the 2 years. And I'm going to let you know the insides and the details of the feelings of a human being being incarcerated, the mindset, and just the mentality of it all. So that's what we're going to do today. Let me get my energy up. How you guys doing out there? How you blessed people doing out there today, man? Thank you for checking in with me today. It's Felon to Felon, and you know how we doing it. I'm going to give you the raw and uncut how it feels to be incarcerated. So let's go from the beginning to the end. First off, if you get incarcerated, you got to be caught. You got to be locked up. The police have to pursue you and they have to apprehend you. First off, you're in the back of the police seat, the police car, and you want to be questioning yourself. You want to know what it is that I did wrong. Am I going to get caught? Do I have a chance of escaping? That's number one. Thinking about the outcome of the situation, whether you're sitting and waiting to go to court, you're in the county, you're on house arrest, you're sitting. That's the first step, is to get caught and to sit and think about what it is that your charges are and what you're facing, what you're convicted of. So you got a lot going through your head. If I would have did this, if I would have did that, my kid's birthday is coming up. When you're right there in the beginning, you're thinking about a lot of little minute things. Oh, I had to pay, I had to go, I was supposed to be going out of town at the end of the week, or now I'm locked up and those airplane tickets that I bought aren't any good. You're thinking about the immediate consequences of your actions that you're facing immediately. So the first step in how you're feeling when you're being locked up is the initial getting caught, to doing understanding that you can't leave. It's just that screening, that vigorous process when you go to the precinct and they fingerprint you, then they take you in the paddy wagon, the truck, the bus that they shift you to another. When they replace you, you're handcuffed, you're shackled. That immediate feeling is no good. You don't know whether to cry, whether to look for a lawyer. You don't know really what to do. That right there is the beginning. The handcuffing, the shackling, transporting you to another facility. Then you get to the county. Then you got intake of the process. You're grouped up with 20 to 30 different men. Everybody's got their own stories or backgrounds, and everybody doing this and that. You feel me? They talking this, they talking that. So then you go through the process, and they more changing out your clothes. Now you gotta, maybe they used to do take showers. They used to have it when you squat, spread your cheeks. They outlawed all of that, and that's currently illegal. If anyone has went through something like that in the last year or two or three, you can bring a lawsuit to your police precinct that is out against the law. In Chicago, they had back pay. They were paying people that was dealing with that, because that was totally bogus. So it used to be you have to cough, and you have to sit next stacked up, along in the wall next to men that are stripped naked. Their feet stink. They stink. They all bending over, squatting. It was just, it was horrendous. So that's psychologically where you're at when you first get arrested or you first get caught. Right there, it's messed up. So then second is the settling in and learning the environment of the prison life, the food, the clothes, the rules, the phones, the inmates, the visits, commissary. So second is, once you get acclimated and you figure out you're not going anywhere, you made your own phone call. Now they send you upstairs, as they call it. They send you upstairs. You know what I'm saying? You go to a cell. You got a cellmate. You get to know him. That experience. You get to know your cellmate, your roommate, the person you're gonna be sleeping next with. So first off, you get to know that person. Then second off, you got to know about the mail. You know what I mean? It's just the whole life inside of the prison system that you have to adapt to. You have to adapt to waking up, doing what they tell you to do, eating the food that they provide for you, wearing the clothes that they give you, the shoes that they give you, using the phone when they tell you that you can use the phone. I know, a regular human being, you're grown and you're used to doing your own what you want to do when you want to do it. So now you're locked up. Now you're going through this. First it was the, you know, booking process to the county process. Now you're in the county. You got a roommate. Now you're just, man, you try not to freak out, but you got all these rules. You got to do what they tell you, when they tell you, how they tell you. Shower when they want you to shower. Come outside your cell. You get maybe like 3 hours out, 4 hours out, 6 hours out of your cell a day, but they might break it up 3 hours in the morning, 3 hours at night, and that's it. And that's what you got to live by, their rules. So the second is allocating to that. Just understanding the system. You got to understand what food you're gonna eat. If you're diabetic, if you're religious, you can't eat pork. You got to break all that down. You got to figure that out. Then you got to figure out, you know what I mean? You got to figure out the clothes. Do they have your size? Are you allergic? Is it clean? When do we change? How often do we get to change these clothes? Because you used to changing your clothes every day. In prison, it's a whole new set of rules. You might wear that same outfit for a week, maybe a month. You might change clothes once a month. It sounds absurd, but it happens, people. It really happens. Next thing I'm gonna check on is the rules. What can't do? Can you holler out your cell? What do you have to have your lights on at a certain time? Do you have to have your bed made up? Can you come out the cell when you want? How do you get the guard's attention? You got to know the rules. Then the phone. Can you use the phone all the time? What's the phone limit? Now they have this a service that they provide. Well, you put the phone cards on, you use your voice, it's voice recognition, and you use a code so no one can be stealing your phone time. You got to understand that setup is all trail. The phone setup, the phone rules. Then you got rules outside of the jail's rules. You got the inmates rules. You got the gang rules. You got, it might be 3 phones on your deck. They call it your pod. This phone might be for the GDs, this phone for the BDs, this phone for the moles, however the gangs do it, white power, whatever. They got their phone. Nobody touch their phone or it's going to be a fight. You might have that on your deck. It happens. They have phone rules. It's very, you know how it is. Like, it's very crazy inside there. So understanding the prison rules, the inmate rules, phones, inmates, visitations. You used to seeing your family and your kids. Now you got to allocate them. They have to know what day to come, what time to come, what they can bring in. So, all of this is playing through your head as you're locked up and you're sitting in that cell, that in this situation that you got yourself into. But this is what goes through your person's head. I'm up inside of here, man. I'm lost. This is a new world to me, man. A new experience. I'm innocent until proven guilty, but this is what I'm dealing with. I'm not even going to talk about this video about the innocent till proven guilty part. I'm just going to give you the mindset of a person being locked up. So along with all this that I've just talked about and covered, is the first initial from the precinct to the county. Now you're still fighting the case. So sometimes, you go to court, you know what I mean? They'll bus you to court. So that'll be time you're away from your pod. It feels like a free day because you get to travel. But going to court is a pain because they shackle you up really tight. When you get to the courthouse, the court building, you're sitting in a bullpen cell with everyone else who has court that day. And it's not the best feeling. You feel me? It's not the best feeling, you guys. So then you get really tired. They're busting you around the whole day. Then they send you back to the county and you've been gone for 12 hours that day and you only had 2 sandwiches. They give you like sandwiches and chips, like that type of lunch. So even going to court during this process is tedious and it's daunting. Commissary. Commissary is another thing that you have to learn. And it's just these things that I'm covering right now in the county level is the same when you get sentenced, or if you don't beat your case and you get sentenced, you go to the pen. You got the initial intake, you meet your cellie, you got to learn the rules. It's the same thing. So now commissary, you got to learn how to fill out the sheet. You got to know how to fill out the commissary slip. You got to know how to tell your parents. Parents. Your people on the outside have to know how to send money in. You have to explain to them how to send the money, when to send the money. You need to know when commissary needs to be in, what items you need to order, all of that stuff. It has to be in by a certain day. You have to fill it out. They have the bubble sheets like how you used to do SAT tests. You have to fill the bubble sheets out a certain way with your name a certain way and your number a certain way. You have to know these things, or your commissary and what you go into canteen or to store that week won't get processed. This stuff is important because it's not like you can just wake up and go to Walgreens and buy what you want when you want. So that's really important. Another thing, finding something to keep your mind busy and making time pass. That's another key thing in jail. When you're locked up, you already know you have nothing but time. So just trying to not lose your mind. And can you imagine just every day waking up and being in your same room and knowing that you don't know when you can leave this room? So you have to manage your thoughts and manage your thinking. You know what I mean? You have to manage these things, and you have to just keep a sane mind state. You know what I mean? All day you hear people gang banging, talking about what they did outside, how much drugs, how many girls they slept with, what all crimes and laws that they know how to break and that they know how to manipulate. It's just always convictional stories on top of stories on top of stories. So you have to decipher and weed that stuff out. Read your Bible. You have to read magazines that your family sends in or that you borrow from another inmate. Um, and these are things that you have to do to keep your mind focused. You get wrecked sometimes. Maybe play basketball if they let you, play cards if they let you. We have to keep our mind focused. So that's another thing that you have to deal with when you're locked up, is just finding a way to not go crazy, finding a way to stabilize your thinking and get your thoughts together and keep them together. Another thing, lots of things, thinking and planning is another way that I like to do. I had a book and a journal. I just wrote down all type of inventions, any idea or trinket that I could think of. I write down, I write it down, and that was just my book. Like, I'm gonna be rich when I get out because I have all these ideas and inventions and stuff. So, you know, lots of time to plan, lots of time to study, lots of time to think, lots of time to journal write, lots of time to plan ahead, new names for your kids, new email names, just new, write down all the schools, all the cars you've been to, just a lot of miscellaneous time that you're dealing with when you're locked up, that I think that could be better used if they had better programs for us, for the inmates. That's just a side note. But yeah, when you're in there, lots of time to think and meeting people and networking, and that's another thing. When you're incarcerated, I know a lot of people don't think this is a place to meet people, but you obviously are doing time and you have nothing but time, so you're meeting people from all over your state. A lot of times when you're locked up, majority of you're going to be locked up in your state's jurisdiction, and it's going to be people from all of the big cities, little towns, everywhere in your state. You really meet a lot of different people. I can't say that enough. You meet a lot of different backgrounds and groups of people from all over. So that's another thing. That's a lot of times, it'll take up a lot of your time, maybe a week or two, just learning different people's backstories and relating it to yours, because the backstories are different and sometimes they're appeasing and appealing, and they just sound so far-fetched. And you might be a city guy and this guy lives in a town. He's telling you how he grows marijuana acres at a time. You're like, man, I have a little joint bag, and I think that's a big deal. I have a Ziploc, and he's like, I got fields of marijuana, and it's like just growing grass to them. So you get different perspectives on life, and it's not always the best. Sometimes you meet people that was maybe worked downtown or had a really good job, and they tell you the inside. So you really meet a lot of different characteristics of people in jail. And it's nothing great about jail. I would recommend that anyone really just do what you're supposed to do, not to get sent there. But if you're thinking about, or someone incarcerated, then this is some of the things that they could be facing or dealing with. And I would always just advise anyone to be supportive of them. Send them magazines, send them money, put money on your phone. You know what I mean? The jails are really dirty. If anyone wants to make complaints or anything, one of the biggest complaints I'll say about the jail system is they were filthy. They were, like, with the corona going on, I don't understand how that, related to the jail or anything, but I know it was a bad outbreak in there because of prior corona, their things were filthy. So that's another thing. The biggest things that stick out with me is how filthy the jails are, and how, poor the food is very dirty, and not enough activities. No activities for people who are supposed to be being rehabilitated, incarcerated, might come from lower level backgrounds, and they don't know anything about the positive ways of life. They just know the criminal ways of life. They should have more activities for trying to reevaluate their people's mindsets and teach them new things and teach them where they went wrong. And actually, instead of just making them miss their life and be away from their family and, not be able to live out, freely, actually teach them. How about we actually teach these people? We got these people. We're in control of these people. We feed them. We clothe them. We sleep them. We house them. Let's teach them. We have these people for this set amount of time. You know how long they're incarcerated for. Let's take that time to maximize the abilities that we can project onto individuals. Let's give them the best courses and programs and teach them. Let's teach them. So that's my rant for today, is what it feels like to be locked up, coming from a black man. I hope this helped anyone that had any questions or was curious about it. I hope I didn't kill you guys with this rant. I'm trying to learn how to talk and speak on camera. So thank you for sticking with me and bearing with me. I appreciate you guys stopping by. And if you can, give me a thumbs up and subscribe and leave me a comment about how I did, and really critique this video. That's one thing I'm going to start asking all my videos. Please critique them. Shout out to Felon to Felon for sponsoring me. I think they're a really good company and organization. Go check out their website. I have a link below. Check out their website, felontofelon.com. I get a lot of insight and a lot of good resources from them. So that'll be my tip for you guys. Check out felontofelon.com. And thank you for stopping by, and have a good day.